it's well worth the trip every time we go there. And what a big deal for Brandon to win that race. He and Billy Lasik, who had just passed away the week before, they were really close friends, and he'd been working for Brandon a little bit there, and it was just a big tragedy. So I know Brandon was really glad to get that win for him. A lot of folks don't remember, but Billy actually helped Brandon out in his Rookie of the Year campaign on the World Outlaw Series and got him a car.
Right.
When he crashed his car, Billy was able to get him a car to run. In fact, it was Billy's girlfriend at the time's race car to race, so he could stay in the points, and was able to win that World Outlaws Rookie of the Year title. So I know he meant a lot to Brandon, and I know it was big for him to win that race to honor his buddy.
And you know what, Kelley, in addition to that, not only for Brandon Overton, he had a great relationship with Billy did with Rick Eckert also.
Absolutely. Everybody in the Mid-Atlantic knew Billy from MBH race cars, and that he had a relationship with a lot of folks, and he was a special guy. He was a friend of mine as well. He and I talked, multiple times over the years, and just a real tragedy that something like that happened. But, they say everything happens for a reason, but we just don't understand why sometimes.
That's true. You're exactly right. And again, one of our sponsors for Finish Line is Jason Parker and Bruce Kane and All About Wraps. And, of course, as I said at the beginning of the show, his mom and grandmother are having really bad health issues, and it doesn't look good well. And our thoughts and prayers are with them. And, like you said, Kelley, God's got a higher calling. He's got a higher power and decision of what goes on in life. Sometimes we don't understand it, but we have to just accept things and live life to our fullest, definitely. And that's why I always say to never take anything for granted, and always just enjoy what you have while you have it, or who you have it with, until it's gone, because definitely. We're with Kelley Carlton of the Ultimate Super Late Model Series. Talk about how the first half of the season's been for 2019. And by the way, you have been through the ringer of the weather delays also, just like the rest of the motorsports have this year, but you've got 8 events in so far for 2019.
Yeah, we have. We've, we certainly haven't had it as bad as a lot of folks have. We lost our Fayetteville race and our first Virginia Motor Speedway race back in April.
Right.
And really that's the only weather issue that we've had this year. We've been super fortunate. Last year we got hammered pretty hard, but this year we've only lost those 2 to weather. So, really, the best thing I can describe the first half of this year is competitive. 8 different winners in 8 races, and it's just a testament to not only to the guys that race with us week in and week out, but all those local and regional guys in the areas that we go to. Our footprint is pretty large here in the Southeast, and we travel to some different areas and pockets of the country. And those guys that are local and regional to those racetracks are really tough competitors. And, of course, I think that's one of the good things about our series is, everybody's got a shot to win. So really neat to have that kind of a dynamic working for our series, and it's been so varied. North Georgia Speedway is so different from Virginia Motor Speedway, and all that's so different from County Line.
Right.
We've had such a variable of racetracks that we go to. So all these different racers that have picked up wins, that's just it's awesome to see that. And I feel like we may even get our 9th winner this weekend. Looking at the list that I have going, I think there are only 2 guys on the list that I have currently that have actually won races this year that will be at Lakeview this weekend. So, the odds are that we may have a 9th winner for the year.
And by the way, recapping 2019 so far, North Georgia Speedway March 2nd winner was Michael Page, the Georgia native of the Stinger chassis. County Line Raceway, Dustin Mitchell picked up the Tar River Rumble on March 23rd. April 4th at Volunteer Speedway for the Spring Thaw, Dale McDowell, the Mac Daddy, picked up the win. And of course at Friendship Motor Speedway, Zach Mitchell won that event on April 6th. Then at Virginia Motor Speedway, Lawrence County Speedway for the Ronnie Brookshire Memorial Memorial. Ross Bell's won. April, Casey Roberts, Chris Ferguson won in May at Modoc at the Jack Starrett Memorial. I know that had to have been a special a win for him. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then, of course, also Brandon Overton winning at the USA 100. Other events coming up as well include Lakeview Motor Speedway this Saturday night, as well as July 6th, Lancaster, South Carolina Speedway, 4,000 to win, and Dixie Speedway to wrap up the month of July. UltimateSupers.com for more information. But Chris Ferguson, former fast track racer, former fast track competitor, former fast track world championship winner of at least a preliminary night, and he had a great relationship with Jack Starrett, somebody you knew well in racing as well, Kelley, I knew. And just like it was special for Brandon to win for Billy at the USA 100 at Jamaica, Virginia, the same we could say the race before with Chris Ferguson winning the Jack Starrett Memorial. And I think he's the all-time winner of that race as well.
Yeah, that was Chris's third win in the race, and, he and I kind of talked about that a little bit that night. And, he said, it's special every time he wins the race. Jack was the man that gave Chris his first shot to drive a super late model, and helped him out quite a bit. They shared a number. Jack's race cars that he owned always had the number 22, so Chris's car being a 22 was kind of a twist of fate that was meant to be, I guess. So,
right.
I know Chris was emotional about the win, and he and Jody, which is Jack's personal driver there, he comes every year, and they have a special relationship. So neat to see that and that family involvement and how that's stayed, over these years. Mr. Jack's been gone for 9 years now, and it's hard to believe it's been that long, but and he shared a special relationship with the Cushman family.
Yeah.
Mr. Jimmy and Mr. Jack would eat breakfast every morning together during the work week, and so for them to have that racetrack or that race at their racetrack is already carries a lot of emotion anyway. So for Chris to win it as he has, I know that's it makes it that much more emotional.
Kelley, what is your thoughts of where a lot of people in the motorsports industry consider you probably one of the most respected series directors in the country? And you get to do a lot of marquee shows. What's your thoughts of that? And how long have you been in the business?
Well, I started, I've raced all my life. I've been involved in racing my entire life, but I started as an official back in about 94. And worked at a local racetrack, Lawrence County Speedway, is where I started out. I worked as a kid. I worked at local racetracks, like running lineups and things like that, but never really anything very formal to Lawrence. But I'm very, very fortunate and just been in the right place at the right times, and had friendships and relationships that have allowed me to expand to some of these other events that we talked about, Gateway Dirt Nationals. Cody Summer and I have been friends for a lot of years, and I appreciate the fact that he trusted us to run that event. It's obviously it's become one of the largest events in the country of any kind, in motorsports. So, I'm really blessed to be a part of that. And then out at Arizona, I did that one time previously, and then my buddy Jason Babiak, he kept on talking me up to Chris and those guys that promote that show out there in Arizona. And,
right.
And they brought me out, and it's really become a really great relationship between us. And, he's that group. And we got some announcements coming up about Arizona coming out really soon. They're going to kind of spin people's heads a little bit. So I'm excited about that. And I'm just very fortunate. I'm proud to be associated with Stan and Fast Track, and Ultimate obviously, is kind of my baby now, and I think we've really grown the product, and Rose and Robbie and Brian and everybody that's involved have really stepped up, and those regions are growing and getting bigger and better every year. So just kind of like our program. When it started that first year, it wasn't that big, and it has grown and grown and grown because we try to do things the right way. We try to do the things, treat people the same. And I think that's kind of the leading thing that keeps us growing is just we try to be consistent and do things professionally. So that's a big part of what we do with the Ultimate brand.
You know, Kelley, I know you've got a great relationship with Michael Rigsby, Dustin Jarrett, Ben Shelton, all the great people at DirtOnDirt.com. And of course, they have set the bar for a long time with covering dirt motorsports. But what is your thoughts of what Bob Dillner and the people at Speed 51 have done with now doing a lot of live coverage for the Ultimate Super Late Model Series, like at Lakeview this weekend?
Yeah, well, Speed 51 is doing a good job, and Michael and I have had this conversation before. They can't cover everything, obviously. So it's good to have more partners in the business right now doing these types of events. We need to get our brand out. We need to get our type of racing seen by more people, so we can get more people to the racetrack. So, it's always a positive when something like that comes along. And Bob and his staff have done a great job. They provide us additional support with a lot of public relations things that they do. So, it's a big help for us, and I know it's a big help for the Fast Track brand, and they've, been a big help for Carolina Clash and other entities around the country. So, we're excited and proud to be associated with it.
Kelley, as somebody that is affiliated with a lot of super late model racing, you're going to be understanding the race director for the Fast Track World Championship. This is the biggest Chevrolet Performance Motor Pro engine pro late model race in the country. 50,000 to win, 2,000 to start. What is your thoughts of that race coming up in September?
Well, I think it's going to be huge, obviously. Again, going back to Virginia Motor Speedway, one of the nicest places in the country by far. And, a huge race like this, it surely will draw, a fantastic car count. It should draw over 100 cars.
Right.
Racers are fickle, so you never know, but it should draw over 100 cars. And I'm excited about, we've been having some discussions about formats and things like that going back and forth amongst us about what we're going to do there as well. So I think, soon they'll be making announcements as far as what they're going to do there. But, man, it's going to be an exciting weekend. Those guys really put on a good show. Virginia Motor Speedway is one of the places that lends itself to, a crate engine racing. You're able to race on that racetrack, because you can race top to bottom on it, and it generally does slick off. So those guys can really showcase the driver skill that they have, and not, have to be concerned about who has the best shocks or who has the best, has cut their tires the best or any of that stuff. It's all about driver up there, and so I expect it to be a really big show, and I'm excited about going. I can't wait to get there.
Got one more question for you before we let you go, Kelley Carlton. Of all the tracks that are in the entire country that are not on the Ultimate schedule, if there was a track that you could highlight, showcase, spotlight the Ultimate Super Late Model Series at, what track would it be?
Wow, that's a great question. If we're talking about anywhere in the country.
Anywhere in the country.
If we're talking about anywhere in the country, it would be my buddy Matt Curl's place at Fairbury Speedway in Fairbury, Illinois. They already have an electric crowd and just one of the most dynamic atmospheres anywhere in the country. So to be able to take our brand of racing to somewhere like that would be really big for us, and I would really relish that opportunity.
And what a show they put on, of course, the other night at part of the Hell Tour Summer Nationals. And then, of course, in addition to that, the Prairie Dirt Classic put on there. And I had a feeling you were going to say Falls. And I commend you for that, because a lot of people say, it needs to be Eldora. It needs to be Knoxville. You're a realist, Kelley. You travel all over the country like I do. You know what racetracks are really, really good and what are just marquees and crown jewels. And it's not knocking any of the big tracks. But, again, I think an Ultimate race at Falls would be amazing. If all the sanctioning bodies came together, that would be something cool to see. Definitely.
Oh, for sure. Of course, Eldora and Knoxville are obviously wonderful.
Oh, absolutely.
Speed palace, places you want to be. But that's just my personal opinion. I have some personal input too, because Matt Curl and I are close friends. But
yes.
Fairbury is just one of those places that everybody needs to go to at least once in their life.
And I would guess I would say Kevin and Gundaker and the family at Tri-City Speedway would be a distant second, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I love Tri-City. You know, Pontoon Beach is a neat place, and
yeah.
you know they caught a little flat